Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new episode of the Fintech Hunting Podcast. We have a very special guest for you today. He is an industry insider, software and SaaS expert, extremely knowledgeable on what it takes for loan officers to be successful, especially in today's digital world. Please help me welcome Rocky Foroutan. He is the Chief Executive Officer of LenderHomePage. Rocky, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Michael. Thank you for inviting me. I'm really happy to be here, and I'll be here to answer any questions you might have.
Fantastic. Well, it's great to have you as a guest. You have an incredible background. For our listeners who might not know your background, tell us a little bit about your background. I know you started in technology and then you've been in the mortgage industry for a number of years. Give us some updates.
Yeah, absolutely. I went to University of California in Irvine back in early 80s. I graduated in 1984, and from 1984 to about 2002, I was in the workforce, first as a software engineer, software developer, writing really low-level software, device drivers and such. And then I got into other pieces of technology like barcode scanners and then storage, and ultimately changed careers midstream from engineering to sales. And I got into field application engineering and sales. And then I got laid off from my last job in 2002. I got laid off. I was the director of sales for a voice over IP company, and I started my consulting business, and I somehow stumbled into mortgage back in 2002, started creating websites and technology and so forth, and I've been doing it since, and I've been loving it. It's a great industry because we deal with great, positive, very personable people, loan officers, and we just try to make their lives easier.
Well, I love that. And as I talk to so many different guests, most people didn't start off in their career and go to school and say, I can't wait to be in the mortgage industry. But once you get in the mortgage industry, you never leave. And I so value what you said about it's a great group of people, hardworking, dedicated, positive people who truly want to make an impact. Great feedback. So tell me, as we're talking mortgage, you know, we're already into August. It's hard to believe. What are some of the trends you're seeing, and what are some of the things you think will transpire in the industry throughout the rest of 2021?
Yeah, you know, the market is really strange these days. I mean, it's not quite a seller's market either. It's like a strange market, but I think that loan officers, when markets are like that, they become more creative. They really become more creative. They try to get deals done, and what they really need is some really good tech and automation to do all the arduous tasks for them and let them do origination with, creative thoughts, you know. So I think that it's definitely turning a little bit into the purchase market still. I mean, the refis, a lot of people have just refinanced. I think we've exhausted the market over the last few months. So it's becoming a purchase market, but as I said, it's a very, very unique market. So all of these, creative setting up of the creative deals and so forth is becoming good. And I think everyone is really understanding the value of tech and the value of automating what needs to be automated.
Well, and let's talk about that a little bit further in a second. As we talk, a lot of the refis are gone. There's still refis taking place,
Sure.
So it's not refis aren't done. And for certain people, refi still makes sense. Everyone's situation is different. But as we shift from a refi market where basically you're just taking orders, you're working 14, 16-hour days, to a purchase market, loan officers have to work harder. Mm-hmm. And not only do they have to work harder for the deals, but as you said, more creatively, they have to be more strategic. So let's dive into where can technology help them as they're doing more purchases, as they're trying to create efficiencies. Walk me through some of those things.
Well, we find that, even back in the refi market, you getting the borrower to actually start an application on the web or on a mobile app is a really great start for the application because you're really getting the buyer engaged rather than having him on the phone and just having him give you some information. They're not quite as engaged as if they are click on a login, they create an account and start answering questions, and they have to. So right off the bat, that is a great deal to make sure that all of the borrowers show commitment by starting out an application online and relieve you of having to be on the phone and try to catch them where at a convenient time and so forth. Next, what we find is really the communication with your own loan team and your realtor partners is just monumental. I mean, deals are so different these days, and realtors have to know whether this deal is going to happen or not, and if it's going to fall out of escrow or if it's going to be a pre-approved deal. So they really need to know, in real time, the status of everything that's going on. So that communication alone is a full-time job, right? So unless you have a lot of assistants and people that can help you out or working, 12, 14-hour days, you really are going to need some good, crystal clear technology to help you communicate loan status and milestones and needed stuff. So those are the two things that we really have focused on, and those are really the big value differentiators for mortgage companies of all size. What is your borrower experience like, right? Everyone has done integrations on the past. Everyone has got, we XML out to you XML out to JSON, back and forth. I mean, this push and pull that's what we've focused on in the past 5 years. Everyone has focused on making sure we integrate with everything. But in the meantime, some of the people have, I don't want to say forgotten, but maybe overlooked how important it is to get that borrower experience, the borrower journey right. How important it is to get that communication with the realtors right, and your own loan team, and make it all frictionless. So yeah, we focus a lot. In fact, that's all we focus on is the borrower experience, the communication, and the devices and mobile and all of that stuff that is very important.
Well, and I want to share those insights, and hopefully our listeners are taking notes. But when you say that, you bring a very unique perspective. You guys have over 2,000 clients that you've developed websites for, that you've helped with. So this is not just some theory. This is not just, hey, wouldn't it be great? Because a lot of people are catching on the buzzword of engagement or borrower touch points, but you've been living and breathing this with thousands of loan officers, brokers, lenders. When people talk about, the technology to, first of all, allow the borrower to take the app, talk to me a little bit about how important providing some of those self-service tools and making sure something is sticky is, and then we'll get into the borrower touch points throughout the process.
Yeah, so, it's funny, it's 2021, and we're still talking about websites, and, you would think that everybody, even teenagers, have their websites, and it is true, but yes, it is a very important part, and I would say maybe even a central part, or the first thing that you need to do when you're setting up your digital footprint, right? I mean, where are people going to go to start an application? Where are they going to go to log back into the application? So the website is very important. And yeah, it could be in your email signature, but it's got to be something that, people can go read about you, read your reviews, find out how you do business, your bio, and then be able to start and continue the applications. So yeah, it's very important for the borrower to be able to say, okay, I could go at 2 a.m. in my pajamas, right? I don't need to have my loan officer take up my lunch break, right? I go at 2 a.m. And I go in there and I start my application. And if you set up and configure your tech properly, they can not only start the application, they can actually pay for and pull their own credit, and they can start uploading the documents and scanning and uploading all the required documents. So when you show up to work as a loan officer the next day, you got a file almost ready to be submitted to underwriting, right? You just have to say, oh, okay, I all these they look good, they're legible. He's got all the documents. He's even pulled credit. I even have his verification of assets. He's given me they want certainty stuff. I'm ready to go. So it's very important to offer all of these tools as self-serve tools, basically, as you said, to the borrower. We've done what Expedia did to travel industry back in late 90s, right? We make everything, instead of going to American Airlines and the blue screens and stuff, it's right out there on the website, self-serve, go for it.
Well, and I think that's critical and we don't know how far each individual borrower wants to go from a self-service, but they always start on the website. They're looking around, and if you can get them, like you mentioned earlier, to start filling out the application with you, most of the time they don't go shopping around. They don't want to fill out the application on 10 different websites. They're going to stick with you. But if that process is hard, if it's clunky, if they can't find out where to start the process, they're just going to move on to someone else, and you've lost that business forever.
Absolutely.
Great insights. The next thing you had talked about, though, was the importance of, to deliver a great customer experience, it's not just the borrower interaction with the website, but it's every touch point and every individual that's part of the loan transaction. Talk to me a little bit about that and the types of communication that can be provided throughout the different steps and stages of, what I classify as manufacturing of the loan.
Yeah, absolutely. So, one of the key ingredients in making sure that this manufacturing of the loan goes smoothly is a device which is always connected to you, which is your smartphone, which is your mobile phone. So we understood that early on, and we said, hey, we've got to have, it's very good that you have all the data and you have all the alerts and stuff, but if you don't get it to where the people are, whether it be the borrower or the realtor or other stakeholders, it won't matter. So we said that we need to have the best mobile app experience for our borrowers as well as our realtors. In fact, you can co-brand your mobile app as a loan officer with as many realtors as you want, so they will have their own versions of the app. So what we decided to do is not only have the information available on the milestone by milestone and what's needed and all of that, but make it available in a digestible form with mobile apps, right? So our mobile app allows you to, for example, an ideal scenario is if a borrower starts an application on your website, they can start it on the website and then continue it on the mobile app when they're waiting in line in Del Taco, or when they're watching TV, or start it on the mobile app and then finish it off here. And then as soon as the application is completed, you get all of the push notifications and all the alerts on your mobile app as things move along. So it is where you are, we meet you where you are, and we give you the information in real time to your phone, to the borrower, as well as to all of the realtors. A realtor basically will have a complete view of their pipeline, the one that they have in common with you as a loan officer, on their mobile app. So they don't need to call you or your assistants. They have everything coming in real time. They look at their dashboard and they go, good, wow, this is such a valuable tool for me. And they get push notifications when things change. So in a way, we've eliminated a lot of the crossing of the voicemails, sending the emails when you weren't watching, and all of that. It's getting to you in real time. And one of the powerful things about our mobile app and our point of sale in general is that you as a loan officer will get to decide how much of the information you want to get to the realtor, like which one of the milestones you want to let him know about. So you get to configure all of that, and then you set it and you forget it. So it's really powerful stuff.
Well, and I love how you've talked about you're providing something of value to the realtor, right? One of the biggest challenges as we make the shift to a purchase market is loan officers that haven't really developed the relationships with the realtor. trying to call them 5 times a day or ghosting them and not giving them any information. People need to know, hey, the appraisal is running late and the loan's not going to close on the day that we thought it was going to close on. Yeah. Hey, there's been an issue here. We're still waiting. And like you said, when you can provide it real time, what I really have heard from you is when you put the power of these tools in people's hands, you allow them to use the tools when it's most convenient for them.
Yes, absolutely.
So, the realtor sitting at an open house, people are walking through, people just left, and now they can check their pipeline. And they're not trying to return 10 phone calls and 10 texts and 5 emails. They look at it, they see the status, and they know they're good to go with the Smith file, the Jones file, the Hammond file, whatever it may be. Great insights, Rocky, from that perspective. What are some of the biggest challenges, or what are some of the reasons why loan officers, brokers, originators don't have a website that's intuitive or don't provide these tools to their realtors? What's holding them back?
Well, I think that, loan officers and mortgage professionals in general, they are so busy and inundated with what they have to do to get these loans done. And they're talking to their account executives at the lenders, and they're trying to find the right scenario and the right program for a particular borrower. So they're really busy. And it's like one of those things that, you've got to exercise, but you never have time to go out there and make it to the gym. You know it's good for you. You know that in the long term, it will actually clear your thoughts for the day. It will make you a better, more effective person to even get that stuff done, but you're so busy showing up to work and just starting replying to emails and all of that. I think there is some of that going on with loan officers. I think that there is some of that, and some of that is, there's not enough, material like this that you're doing right now available to them, like podcasts and informational videos and so forth, that really break down the value in a way that you can say, oh, yeah, I get it. And you get the aha moments, and you see, I see if I were to, get them to engage with my, with my app, they're not going to be all over the place. They're going to hopefully finish here, especially if it's frictionless and all of that. So I think it's a combination of just being a very, very busy market and not enough easily available information that is really right on, and it's not too promotional, right? It has to be some that, they can trust. And, finally being able to trust the vendor that says, okay, I see the value, go ahead and get it done for me. There are, unfortunately, sometimes people that drop the ball. I got to say that we as a company have dropped the ball a few times on some of our customers, but we take responsibility. We tell them, oh, we needed to do that, SEO for you, and we did drop the ball, and we try to make them whole. So, it's a combination of everything, but I think once a loan officer or an originator really has an awakening of how important digital presence and tech is for their business, they'll spend what's necessary, and they'll get the right vendors to put their stack together.
Well, and I think one of the other things is we talk tech, and we're on the Fintech Hunting Podcast and everything, for loan officers to understand is if they want to enhance the relationships with their borrowers, if they really want to spend more time engaging with them so that they can get loan 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, they've got to use technology to leverage it so that it frees up more time, that when they need to have that discussion and review loan scenarios, that they have the time to do that. When they want to have that initial conversation and really explain the value of what it is they do and the fact that they know the local market and how they can help them submit a winning bid from the get-go, the only way you're going to have time to do that is have all of these systems in place so that they can manufacture a loan, so that they can seamlessly communicate and keep the realtor up to date, keep the borrower up to date. And I think it's that combination of leveraging tech so that they can foster and build better relationships is what the key is, and what I've seen for some of the most successful originators out there.
Yeah, absolutely. You talk about how important it is for borrowers to basically have a good experience, but as touche as it might sound, we make a sharing of our mobile app front and center, and you'd be surprised at how many gatherings or even Zoom sessions I've been in with family or friends over the last few months, and they say, "Hey, I refinanced." And then you go, "Oh, really? What rate did you get?" And then it would be, if you have had a good experience with the whole application intake and the mobile app and how you got informed all along the way and everything, it would be so simple to tell your brother-in-law, "Hey, let me do this. Let me share this app with you. You got to work with this guy," right? And there is the biggest no-brainer of all time, is to make sure that you have that experience and you get this free referrals. And I mean, I would do it. I mean, if I had a good experience with a lender, if my sister said, "Hey, I'm trying to refinance," I'm going to say, "Hey, let me do this. Let me share this app with you. Just download it and go through with it, and this guy will take care of you." And that's what we focused on. We focused it on in such a way that when people use the app, they like it enough that say, "Hey, let me try to refer this to my family and friends and colleagues."
Well, and you bring up a great point. Referrals are so critical, right? We just come out of the refi market. A lot of people have refied. A lot of people aren't in the market for a loan, but their brother, their sister, their friend, their neighbor, someone else is. And to your point, if they have a great experience, if the app was easy to use, if we've eliminated a lot of the friction points and you can foster that relationship, then they're going to tell other people. Yeah. They're going to say, "Here you go, try it. Here's what I can do on my phone. Here's how simple it was." That's going to be very, very powerful. And I think that's what leads to a great borrower experience. And then that's how you create customers for life. Rocky, we could continue to talk for hours on end. We're almost done. As we wind down, I have two last questions. The first one is, what are some of the things you see on the horizon for the mortgage market in 2022? And what are some of the most important areas that people need to focus on from a tech perspective?
Yeah, I really see a lot of crossover now between real estate and mortgage, and they are getting a lot more intertwined than they were in the past. In the past, you had your realtor with very self-defined types of responsibilities, and then you had the mortgage guy or the loan officer. I mean, I think we see sites like Zillow and Redfin and some of these larger guys are doing a lot of, "Hey, we can show you the property," and some of the things that used to be only a realtor kind of a responsibility is now being broken down. And so it'll be interesting for us to understand how that will impact our business and how we can get more of the property search and real estate types of technology embedded into our technology. I'm actually really looking forward to that. We're talking to a few other companies that have very synergistic technologies. So that, I think, is going to be good. And, I believe that the rates are definitely going to stay in the lower end of the spectrum. I think that the economy in general has a lot of clawing back to come out of it. So I don't think it'll be wise to raise the interest rate. So I think there's a lot of tailwind still in our space for mortgage that will be around, and that will be good for us. Good for us all, I think.
Absolutely. Rocky, excellent insights. For anyone who wants to reach out to you and find out more information, discuss what you're talking about with better borrower engagement and websites, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
Well, it will be my first name, Rocky, ROCKY, at LenderHomePage.com. That's my personal email, and that's probably the best way to start the contact, and then we can probably get on a phone or a Zoom meeting like this, and we can try to help answer any questions that people might have about our views and our products and everything else.
Outstanding. Rocky, thank you so much for being a guest on this episode of the Fintech Hunting Podcast.
Thank you so much, Michael, for giving me this opportunity, and as always, Glad to be here.
Thank you.